Hi, this is Joanne from 123stitch.com. Today I want to show you a couple of different ways to display your finished cross stitch. There's a company called Paisleys Polka Dots that has a wide range of finishing display stands that are so much fun, all different shapes and sizes. I will have a link down below to all of them so you can see what I'm talking about. They're just a lot of fun. But I'm mostly excited to show two designs that they have made just for us and just in time for Halloween. We have a potion bottle and we have a tombstone. Today I'm going to show you how to attach your finished cross stitch project to these display stands. Now when you get these, they don't come assembled, they don't come painted. They come in a package that looks like this. But don't worry, it's easy to put together. First of all, buying it unfinished, unpainted makes it a lot more economical, which is something we're all interested in. But also it allows you to get exactly the color of paint on it that you want that works for your design. For instance, I did my project on a purple linen and I had to get just the right shade of purple to work with the design. And they show you how you can make it lighter and darker using white and black paint, how to antique it up a little bit, make it look a little bit older. The wonderful thing about this is they do come with very detailed instructions to tell you exactly how to paint it. You can use acrylic paints with just regular soap and water cleanup, or you can spray paint them. They also have links to excellent videos on their website that show you in detail what to do, how to achieve the various effects that your design might have. Now the potion bottle had a lot of shading, had some sandpaper on the edges to make it look older, but the tombstone was just a solid black paint, a little gray up here. It took more time to wait for the glue to dry than it did to paint it, so it can be super easy to do. You don't have to go with the weathered look, you can do a solid color, but they're a lot of fun. So today I want to show you the projects that I have stitched for them and how to attach them to the finished stands. Before we get started though, please go down below and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on anything. And everything I mentioned today will be listed as a link down below. So if you're interested in anything, you'll know exactly where you can get it. Let's get started. Okay, first we're going to work on our potion bottle project. The design that I've stitched for it is called The Witch is In. I thought that would be perfect for this. It's by Keslyn's. I stitched it on a 32 count peaceful purple linen with two colors of floss, a DMC black and then a Dinky Dyes purple floss. It is a good size for the design, but it's quite large, so I need to make sure that I can have the right size backing board to fit on there. So what I did is I decided I wanted about a 1/4 inch extra all around. I could do more, but I don't think that would quite fit. So about a 1/4 inch all around. And I determined that I need about a 6.5 inch circle. So that's what I have here. But how do you cut a circle that is 6.5 inches? If you have a template, great. If you don't, a couple of things you can do is find something in the house that's about the right size. I have this bowl. I turned it upside down on my mounting board, drew a circle around it, and then cut it out. It was a little large, so I just used my scissors and trimmed down around the edges till I got the size I wanted. Something else you can do is take a tool like this. This is a protractor. And what you do is you set about half the size of the circle you want. You put that in the middle of the mounting board and then you draw a circle with the pencil. So that'll create the size circle that you want. That works as well. So once we have our mounting board, we make sure it fits and looks good. It does. We can cut out our fabric. I go about an inch extra all around, maybe a little more. It doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be pretty. What we're going to be doing is gathering it on the back side so you won't see those edges at all. With our template, we cut out some batting. My batting is pretty lightweight, so I cut 2 pieces. I doubled it up, put my template on top, and cut around it. Once I had the 2 pieces, I glued them on to my mounting board, glued the first one down, and then glued the second one right on top of it. And then afterwards, if you need to, you can just take your scissors and trim around the outer edge. So now that we have those things, we're going to put the stitch piece on top of the batting, turn it upside down to work on it, and then we're going to grab a needle, a big needle. I like a longer needle, and I like it big enough so I can hang on to it. So this happens to be a 20 count tapestry needle, but you can really use anything. Any needle will work. The thread, though, you want something pretty heavy duty. So I have a Coats & Clark upholstery thread. You don't have to use this, but we're going to be pulling it through the fabric, so we want to make sure that it is strong enough. I picked this dark color purposely so that you can see what I'm doing. The color actually doesn't matter because it's going to be hidden on the back side. We're going to grab a lot of thread here. And I don't seem to have my scissors. Let me grab them real quick. Okay, there's our scissors. Cut that. Got a nice long piece of fabric, of thread here. And what we're going to do on the end here is do what I call a messy knot. I'm going to fold it and then just do a big knot here on the end. I might even do that a second time. What it's going to do is knot it, but it's also going to leave me this tail so that I can use that to help pull and gather. We want a long enough thread so that we can go all the way around. We don't want to run out. But if you make a mistake, if you run out of thread, you can always start over, so it's not tragic. All right, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to be doing a running stitch towards the end of the fabric. So you don't want it in towards the center, you want it on the outside edge, and that's what'll help gather it. So we're just going to start doing little stitches that are about 1/4 inch apart. And that's where the long needle comes in handy. You can do several stitches before you have to stop. And this is just going to go all the way around. Pull. And you can see already it's going to start to gather that fabric for us. Now, my linen is quite stiff. If you have a softer fabric, if you have an even weave or a soft Aida, you can probably get away with doing larger stitches, and it's going to pull and drape it better than a stiff linen does. This definitely works, it's just a little harder. I'll show you another project in a little bit where I did a soft Aida, and it just lays a lot flatter and works a lot better, but it just depends what you want to stitch on too. And this pattern called for 36 count linen, and I started it on 36 count. The black was really getting to me and I wasn't enjoying it. I couldn't see it well enough. So I actually scrapped that and went to the 32 count linen because I'm all about being happy when I stitch, and that was not making me happy. So if I had stuck to the 36, it might have fit better on the potion bottle, but I think it's going to fit just fine. So we're just going back and forth like this, doing little bitty stitches. They don't have to be exact, they don't have to be perfect. You can see what it's doing every time I pull. You can see it's starting to pull that in right on top of the mounting board. So we're going to go all the way around here. I'm not paying attention to where it's fitting on the, if it's centered right now, we can work on that later. Right now we just got to get our stitches in. Go all the way around here. Almost back to the beginning. You can see my little messy knot, as I call it there, that's got the nice tail on the end, so I have something to hang on to. Go finish this up here. And this one finishes up really fast. It'll be done as soon as we get this gathered, and then we can attach it to our frame. So let's do that. Okay, we're all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to pull, and you can see how that gathers. It's not exactly straight, so now's the time to kind of shift a little. Then we can pull again. And this is where that upholstery thread really comes in handy, because you can really yank on that and make it do what you want it to do. If you had a lighter weight thread, it would be much harder to do this. Your thread might break, and then you'd have to start all over. Okay, my needle came unthreaded, so I am going to thread that real quick. Get this threaded. Okay, so if you have, like I said, a softer fabric, you might be done right here. You might be able to just knot this off and be done. If your fabric is still sticking up a little bit, you might want to do something else. What I'm doing right now is just putting a little knot in here, holding it tight and getting my knot in. So that's knotted, and now it's laying nice and flat. But I have a lot of, make sure that's straight. I have a lot of thread left. So what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this, but if your fabric's sticking up at all and you want to get it to lay down, just go back and forth with your thread, put a little stitch in there, go across to the other side, and kind of do like a little lacing stitch. So what it's doing is it's just kind of holding the fabric down a little bit more. Each time I do that, it's pulling a little bit tighter. Definitely not necessary depending on your fabric, but it does help hold it flatter for us. I think I am good here, so I'm just going to knot this off. Trim it, and it's done. It's all mounted. It looks evenly spaced, and now we can attach it to our potion bottle. And what I'm going to do to attach it is I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue. I'm going to spread it all around. I'm going to use my finger or a brush to really spread that out, especially on the edges. And then I'm going to put it on here. And then I'll put a clean towel or a piece of fabric on top, heavy book, let it sit, let it dry, make sure it's all on there nice and tight. Before I do that, I wanted to show you the other pattern that I stitched. This one is called In My Mind by Sue Hillis Designs, and I stitched it on a 16 count Aida. It's much softer, it lays flatter, but works just as well as the other one. But I wanted to show you specifically because it's smaller. So you can see that there's room to add rickrack on the edges. So to add the rickrack, it's just glued on. You start in one point and you put your Aleene's tacky glue down there, put a pin in there to hold it in place, and then just glue around and press your rickrack down all the way around. You overlap the edges so that the rickrack matches up, and that's it. You might want to put pins around as you are laying the rickrack down initially. It helps hold it in place. It helps you to set it better. Don't leave the pins in too long. You don't want them to get all icky. You want to be able to use them again. So pull them out as soon as you can and then clean them off. And there you go. That's the second design. So I'm going to glue this one down and let it sit. But what we're going to do next is work on our tombstone design. Okay, now we're going to work on our tombstone. For this project, I have stitched this cute little design. It's from Happy Halloween by Crocette GoGo. It's just one small panel of the design, but I thought it worked out perfectly with this. I stitched it on a 16 count Smoky Quartz Aida because I love this color. the skeleton didn't show up really well though, so I did end up back stitching him. I think it turned out nice. We're going to finish this as a flat fold with 2 backings. So we'll have a board for this piece, and then we'll have 2 backing fabrics, an orange and a polka dot. So what we first have to do is figure out what size our boards are going to be. I used press-on board for this design. And to determine what size I wanted my 3 mounting boards to be, I did paper templates. So I started with, okay, what size do I want this to be? How much of a margin? I ended up with 4 by 4.5. So once I cut that one out, I was able to say, what size do I want the next piece to be? What size do I want the bottom piece to be? And how do they fit on here? So after playing around with them a little bit, I came up with 4 by 4.5 inches, 5 by 5.5 inches, and 5.5 by 6 inches. That will allow my backing fabric to peek out around the edges. So once I had my templates, I went ahead and laid them on my press-on board. I did use press-on board for this one. That's the board with the sticky backing. I laid them on it and cut them out, and I came up with my 3 pieces right here. We're going to then cut the fabric out. We're going to use the smallest one for our stitched piece. So I did that and left about 1 inch all around. You could go a little less, but I went about 1 inch. I can always cut it down later if I need to. And then I did the same thing with my backing fabrics. Laid the next one is going to be orange, so I did that one. And then we have the black with the white polka dots, about 1 extra inch all around. And the last thing I had to cut out was the batting. In this case, I'm only going to go with 1 piece of batting, and I cut it to fit the smallest piece, the stitched piece. It's actually big. I can see that right here. So we're going to peel off the sticky part and put the backing right on top of that. If you have trouble peeling this, you can use something like a stiletto to get it started. There we go. Peel that off, and we're going to put our backing right on top of it. I never want to put the stitched piece on the sticky. Batting's okay, backing fabric's okay, just don't want to do the stitched part. So I've got that on there. I'm going to trim it off. Okay, that's all set. Now what we're going to use is double-sided adhesive tape to hold it onto the back side. It doesn't have to be double-sided, but it has to be adhesive tape. I use score tape. It's one of my favorite. It's been around a while. I've got all kinds of little fuzzies on it, but I use this a lot because you can tear it by hand. That is so nice. If you want both sides sticky, you put the one side down and then you peel off the backing and you've got double-sided sticky. In this case, we'll just use the one side. So putting my backing up, stitch piece goes on top of the backing. And then what we're going to do is just attach it. And we're going to start in the corners. We're going to pull the corners in nice and tight, and I'm going to put a piece of tape on there. Now, I have no idea if that's centered or not, so we're just doing a quick start to see where we want to be. Something like that, I think. But we definitely want to do the corners first. A little bit there, a little bit there. That looks pretty good. Okay, let's put a couple more pieces of tape down and see what it looks like. Do this corner, pull that tight. We'll do the other 2 corners. Go. Okay, let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty straight. Not bad for the first try. Second try. Okay, once we've got the corners in, then we can turn the other sides down. I'm going to try to get those corners as tight as we can. I'm going to show you a trick if they're not as neat as you would like them to be. But it always helps if you can pull that tight and get that in as close as possible. I'm going to do this side first. Remember, this back's not going to show it all, so it doesn't need to be pretty. And our last side here. Okay, now we can put some tape on these corners, but I do want to show you, they're not bad, but they're not as tight and neat as I'd like them to be. So I just want to show you something that you can do if you choose to. I'm just going to take a regular needle and thread, any needle. Put a little knot in the end here. This isn't going to show it all, so it really doesn't matter what you use. You can use your cross stitch thread if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up this corner seam. I'm just going to do kind of a whip stitch and go back and forth here. Just do small stitches, and I'm closing up that opening where the two pieces come together. And I'm just going back and forth up towards the corner. And as you can see, as I'm doing that, it's, oops, get out of there. It's tightening up the opening. It's making that corner close up a little more. And it's making it nice and neat. So let's see. There we go. It's a nice tight corner now. And now that I've done that one, I just have to do the other ones. You can try putting more tape down, but I really like this method the best. So I am going to not make you watch me sew up the other corners. I'm going to pause for a second and come right back. Okay, I am finishing up my last corner now. I really like the way this makes the corners look so much neater. So it's really worth doing. Just doing a little stitch back and forth here, pulling that tight, and you can see it. It's going to make a big difference on the outside edges. I'm just going to knot that off. We'll turn it over and take a look at it. Okay, there we go. See how the corners are much tighter and nicer now? I think it's worth doing. So that piece is done. We'll set that aside, and now we need to work on the next piece. The next piece is our middle section, and it's going to have the orange fabric. That's this one. We're going to put the, if we can tell, we're going to put the right side facing down. Lots of extra threads here. We're going to peel the backing off. There we go. And we're going to put the sticky side down on the, no, we're going to put the non-sticky side down. So sticky side pointing up. We're going to use the sticky stuff to hold our fabric in place. This isn't the stitched fabric, so we don't mind using sticky. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do corners first. It's very sticky. which is why you don't want to put your cross stitch on it. It's not very forgiving. Okay, and then we'll fold our ends down nice and tight. I don't know why, but I like to do opposite sides. This one and this one. So there you go. That's all there is to that. And then we can see this is going to fit on it just like that. I just have lots of loose threads here. So this one's going to fit on like that. That's going to be cute. I like that already. All right, we're going to set this aside. Now, if I wanted to, I could tape down these corners some more, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. We're going to be gluing it down, so it's fine the way it is. We're going to set that aside, and we're going to take our last piece. We're going to put the wrong side of our black and white fabric down. We're going to peel off the backing on our sticky board, which is really the most difficult part of this whole process. Peel that off. We're going to put sticky side up in the center. This fabric is not really directional, so I'm not going to worry too much about it, but if you have something that it's got lines on it, you're going to want to make sure you have it centered just right. Okay, I'm going to fold the corners down. And then I'm going to fold the ends in. There we go. That looks good. If you need to put tape in the corners to make sure that those corners stay tight, then definitely do that. There we go, that looks good. All right, so now we're gonna have that piece, and this piece, and it's all gonna get mounted on here. Now, everything's sticky, so we wanna be careful about these back sides. We're gonna glue this piece down first. It's already got some sticky on it, but we're gonna add glue to it just to make sure that it stays in place because there's no glue on the fabric. So we're gonna get our glue, and we are going to put it on here. Not going to put it on the center section because that's got sticky stuff on it. And we're going to spread this around. You can use your finger, use the tip of the glue bottle. We want to make sure that we have enough glue on so that it adheres to the board. Okay, there we go. Now that we've got the glue there, we're going to carefully place it on our tombstone. We're going to try to center it and then just lay it down. Now the glue, Aleene's tacky glue is very forgiving and it dries clear, so you don't have to worry too much about it, but you want to make sure you get it straight if you can. There we go, that looks good. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the second piece, and it's going to go right there. Go. Now these designs are not square. My design is not square. Remember, it started with 4 and 4.5, so I want to make sure that I put it facing the right way. Okay, I think that's good. I'll get some on the corners there, though. No matter what, I always seem to get my fingers in the glue. It just works better than anything else. Good idea to always have a wet rag handy. Okay, we've got our piece here, and it's going to go this way. And I'm going to center it on here. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to center it on here. Make sure we have even spacing all around, and I'm going to lay that down. That looks good. I can see I got a little bit of glue there. It is going to dry clear, but I'll try to get it off. Okay, now we just have our stitched piece to go on top. And I'm going to do the same thing. Glue on the back of it. Get that glue up there. That's why I store this upside down. So the glue comes out when you want it to. Now there's no sticky board on this one, so we got to make sure there's glue on all of it. Just go all the way around here. And then we want to make sure that the corners especially are covered with glue. Wipe my fingers. And then we're going to place the cross stitch on our piece. And we're going to try to center that and just drop that down there. See how that looks? Oh, isn't that cute? I love it. Love it. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a clean cloth and books, so this is pressed down and all glued well, and then we will come back and take a look at both of our finished designs. Okay, here's our finished projects. I added a little bit of a ribbon drape on this one, and at the bottom of the tombstone I did a ribbon and a dried flower. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope you try these out. They're a lot of fun. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section below. I love to hear from you, and I will see you again soon.